Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Well, hi everybody, Ezra Levant here. It's November 25th, just a minute after noon Eastern Time. What an eventful week. What an eventful month and year. Can you believe it? It's November 25th, less than 40 days away from 2021. I did a Twitter poll the other day asking people, is 2021 going to be better or worse than 2020? And last I checked, most people thought it was going to be worse, and I think that too. You know, this morning I was telling my kids some first lines of books. You know, if I told you the first sentence of a book, would you be able to recognize it? If I said it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, you'd probably know I was talking about The Tale of Two Cities. I was talking to the little one and I said, the clock struck 13 o'clock. First line, 1984. I didn't get that exactly right. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. I think we're in the best of times and worst of times. It's the best of times because we're seeing people waking up, courage. We're seeing a movement in many ways of civil liberties. We're seeing people calling things out by their proper names. We're seeing some successes around the world, but it's the worst of times also. The lockdown, people obediently obeying. I don't know. I think 2021 is going to be worse in a number of ways. Hey, you know what? I want to tell you some news. We're going to give you a lot of updates on the Adamson Barbecue situation. That's a entrepreneur, amazing barbecue. Do you want to throw their Instagram page up? Amazing barbecue. I've been there myself. They're in the greater Toronto area. There's a neighborhood called Leaside. I went there. There was a half-hour lineup. I'm talking in the before times. Half-hour lineup to get the smoked brisket and smoked turkey and the pies. And they would always sell out all their food. Imagine that. They would just sell it all out and say, sorry, we're all out of food. Like, that's how amazing it is. And he opened in a location in Etobicoke and one in Aurora. So he was in the greater Toronto area. Obviously a successful guy, extremely hardworking. Look at that. Oh my God. I mean, the brisket, and it's like gorgeous to look at. It's that Texas style. And what I like about his restaurant is it's very Spartan, not fancy at all, almost like a warehouse. You come for the food. And I want to tell you, when I lined up with my family, I don't know, a year or two ago, it was hipsters. Hipsters like good food, like everybody does. It was all hipsters. And now he's defying the lockdown, and those same conformist hipsters are sneering at him, jeering at him. We'll give you more news on that. In fact, as I speak, our own David Menzies and our cameraman Lincoln are down there right now, and I know police are on the scene again. But before I go any further, sorry for the rambly start. I'm excited in that today's live stream has a commercial sponsor. We don't sell a lot of ads here. It's never been our business model. YouTube has largely demonetized us. We have my paywalled show every night. And we crowdfund. But we do have occasional ads, and I am delighted to say that we sold an ad sponsorship to the People's Party of Canada. Now that's sort of a challenge because they're something we talk about in the news, and so I want to have a clear dividing line between our editorial views and our ads, but I am delighted. Listen, we'll sell an ad to anybody. And I'm delighted that the PPC has sponsored today's live stream. And let me read the official message. This is how Glenn Beck does it. This is how Ben Shapiro does it. This live stream is brought to you by the PPC. And here's a message from our sponsor, Maxime Bernier, leader of the People's Party of Canada. I think we got a video from them, am I right? All right, let's play that video. Here's an ad. Take a look.
Justin Trudeau recently announced an increase to Canada's immigration levels. Over the next 3 years, Trudeau wants to bring in over 1.2 million immigrants, while millions of Canadians are unemployed and struggling to put food on the table. Trudeau wants to squeeze the job market even harder. The People's Party is the only party that proposes a complete moratorium on immigration until our economy recovers. If you agree that we must stop mass immigration, go to the link on the screen to sign our petition. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, a paid ad by the People's Party of Canada. As it so happens, I happen to agree with his position on every word. I think it's bizarre to bring in record levels of mass migration, A, during a pandemic, and B, when unemployment is 9%. I'd also add to that, you're driving up housing prices, you're driving down wages, driving up housing prices. It's a bit of a challenge for me I'm delighted to run the ad. It is very much on all fours with what we say editorially. I just want to be clear, that was a paid ad. The fact that I happen to support his view on mass migration is an editorial decision that's independent of the ad, but you know that, you've been watching me for years. All right, that was really fun. That's the first time we've had an ad readout on the live stream, and I'm delighted that it's the PPC. All right, enough talk about me and us. Let's talk about, back to Adam Skelly. Seems like a very normal guy. You start from scratch, you build one restaurant, it goes well. You take a risk, you go to two. That's very hard to move from one to two, because one restaurant, okay, you're there all the time. You can watch your P's and Q's, you can keep an eye on the cash register, you can, if there's an issue, you're there, you see it. You go to two locations, all right, well, do you have a team that you can truly trust at location one when you go to start up location two? Okay, now you open a third. Well, now you're running around. How much of your time you spending running around? And do you have troubles here or troubles there? I can only imagine having three physical plants. I mean, running one restaurant is a challenge. Imagine a guy opens up three. And I'm not sure how many years he's been doing it. I'm going to say he's been doing it for 5 years. So he's poured his heart. He's got a young family. He's got two little kids. One is so young, doesn't even walk. The other's just a little bit more than a toddler. So you're starting a young family. You're trying to make a go of it in the restaurant business, one of the toughest businesses there is. You make a go of it, you're doing a great job. You have two restaurants and three, and now the government comes along and says, you can't be open because of the pandemic, but just down the street, Costco's open, and they're selling hot dogs and pizza and French fries and soft drinks, and the virus doesn't go there because it's Costco. Did you see the story in this morning's 7:30 a.m. email about the headlines in iPolitics about the two lobbyists for Walmart? Did you see that? Did I send that to you, Justin? So I learned this morning from a website called iPolitics.ca that two of Doug Ford's staff, I happen to know both of them, Melissa Lantzman and Kevin Tarrant, were hired by Walmart as lobbyists. So this is Doug Ford's, I'm not going to say inner circle, but I think they sort of were. NDP blasts ex-staffers lobbying for Walmart while Ford closes small stores. Let me read the headline. Oh, sorry, I meant to say the first sentence. Thanks, Justin. The fact that two former staffers of Premier Doug Ford are lobbying for Walmart raises questions about Ontario's decision to allow big box stores to continue selling non-essential items during lockdowns while many small businesses have to close, says the Ontario NDP. Let me scroll down so we get the names. iPolitics wasn't able to independently verify whether the meeting, Fife said Lantzman and Melissa Lantzman and David Tarrant, Ford's former executive director of strategic communications, had arranged a meeting between the Premier and Walmart Canada's CEO, in which Ford said he was convinced to allow the chain to keep its stores open. iPolitics wasn't able to independently verify whether the meeting was arranged by Lantzman and Tarrant, though their lobbying registration indicates they would be arranging meetings on their client's behalf. The NDP says Fife's statement is based on Ford's comments yesterday about meeting with Barbado, that's the CEO of Walmart Canada. I need to remind the members of the opposition that these are the same lockdown orders that were put in place back in March. Paul Calandra, blah, 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 blah. Okay, thanks very much. So I think the number one mistake made by Adam Skelly was you didn't spend $500,000 on connected downtown Toronto lobbyists who could arrange a private meeting with the Premier where you twist his arm, and anyone can twist Doug Ford's arm, a private meeting, and to get not only Walmart staying open, but now in some jurisdictions they do that weird thing of roping off non-essentials. I think it's bizarre. I do understand the logic, even though I disagree with it. The logic is you go into a big box store, only buy the absolute essentials for life because stores that specialize in the non-essentials are all closed. So you're just, insult to injury there. The whole thing is weird. It's premised on degrees of tyranny, not degrees of freedom. But the reason why Walmart Ontario is allowed to sell everything, whereas Walmart in Manitoba is not, is because Walmart hired Melissa Landsman and Kevin Tarrant at an enormous fee to convince Doug Ford to let them get rich during the pandemic. And foolish Adam Skelly, did he really think Ford Nation was a thing under Doug Ford? Did he really think that Doug Ford was for the people? Did he really think that Doug Ford, like his late brother Rob, was against the gravy train, against elite lobbyists? Are you kidding me? 2 elite lobbyists managed to get Walmart into record profits this year. I mean, other than the lobbyists for Jeff Bezos, is there anyone more successful than the lobbyists for Walmart, who have just made a killing? Foolish Adam Skelly. Don't you know? It's not enough that you run 3 outstanding restaurants, hiring. I used to work at a restaurant when I was in college. You look at the different shifts, you look at the cooks and the way. Now, these aren't as large as like a McDonald's or something. I worked at Earl's Tin Palace in Calgary. There were more than 200 people working the restaurant because there were 2 shifts a day and they were open 7. These Adamson barbecues are not that big, but there's got to be 50 people when you take into account part-timers, people, different shifts, the back of house, the front. There's probably 50 people per store. Absolutely. They're not all working at the same time. There's maybe 10 at any one time. Let's downgrade that. Let's say there's 25 per store. So this guy's got 75 people on the payroll. He's hiring 70. There's no way it's less than that. There is no way it's less than that. He's got 75 people on the payroll. He's hustling. Every day he's hustling. He's worried about the food. He's worried about rent. He's worried about everything. He was worried about the wrong things. He didn't worry about grifting and grafting and tipping and gratuities and donations and lobbyists and oiling the machine. He was worried about the wrong thing. Adam Skelly, don't you know, the most important key to success in Doug Ford's Ontario is not how good your food is or how much people love your restaurant. Don't you know? It's, did you hire Doug Ford's staff or not to lobby the old lug? And if you didn't, well, shame on you. The police will come. We'll take the police off the gang beat and off the guns beat. Record shooting spree in Toronto this year. We'll take as many police as it takes to shut down this restaurateur. We'll take them off the gangland file because this is more important. I want to show you, we got a whole bunch of Adamson's vids, don't we? Let's start with, well, the first one you got on your list there, Adamson's Barbecue video. Oh, that's, okay, we'll skip that one. Let's go something from, can we play the one that, something from David's vid yesterday? Now, I think it's too long to play it in its entirety, but I think we can give it a few good minutes. We're going to play a vid from yesterday, and then we're going to come back, and then let's play some of the vids that Lincoln sent back that we've received. Okay, so here's yesterday. Take a look.
For Rebel News here in Toronto, well, I'm at Adamson Barbecue, and there's a new item on the menu today. I think it's called Defiance, and they're serving up a heap and helping of it. You see, Adamson Barbecue, being in Toronto, they are supposed to be closed. Toronto went into a gray zone lockdown mode at the stroke of midnight on Sunday. It's Tuesday, day 2, and the owner, Adam Skelly, is opening in defiance of it. He has said on social media, enough is enough.
Enough is enough. I complied with the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I complied again during the second wave when we locked down, when Doug Ford promised us that there would be supporting evidence to shut down the restaurants, bars, and gyms. He didn't provide it. We got something a little bit later talking about outbreaks. But the data from Toronto Public Health that came out 2 weeks ago show that that's right, 2 of the over 10,000 Ontario COVID deaths were linked to bars, restaurants, and retails. So why are we getting singled out and the big multinational corporations are all essential while they're packed? Come on, guys. Enough is enough. We're opening for anybody who's a fan of freedom and sovereignty, the right to choose what you wear, where to go, who to have over at your house, what businesses you can go to. I'd love to meet you tomorrow. I'll be there at the door in Etobicoke at 11. Thank you guys very much for listening, and have a wonderful day.
This is what we call united non-compliance. They can't even stop one of us from opening. What happens when hundreds of businesses open?
What do you make of, I guess, the double standard? Adam has said enough is enough. I assume he's referring to the fact that you could have a big box store like Walmart, Costco, they're open, they can serve food, they can serve prepared food, but a little guy like him has to be shut down. Does that make sense to you?
It's not supposed to make sense because it's not about health, safety, or making sense. It's about control, and it's about creating dependence. They want to crush small businesses because small businesses are independent people. And then the government doesn't own them, the government serves them. As soon as your small business like this gets taken from you, and now you're on CERB, the government owns you.
And this looks like it's going to be their record day of revenue, so people are voting with their wallets in terms of how they feel about these lockdowns.
The only downside from all of this is that they're going to run out of food.
I think and it's just noon now. How do you like that?
I was planning on getting some, but I don't think it's even going to happen today. But I'll make the sacrifice for the greater good.
It's just coming up for noon, folks, and we see that the police and by law enforcement have arrived here at the barbecue. And I'm just wondering what they're planning to do, if they're going to give a ticket out. And hi, officer, are you going to be ticketing the restaurant today?
Not us, no.
No. Is it just here for crowd control, maybe, or traffic? Or
Keep the peace. Keep the peace.
Okay. Is anyone acting out violently?
No, not right now. Maybe the rebel.
Hey, maybe I can buy you a sandwich. I heard it's really good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, then. All right, well, the police are very friendly. They're just here to keep the peace, they just told me. And although I do see some by-law enforcement officers, yeah, they might have a ticket book out. And, well, you never know who you're going to bump into at an illegal eatery. It is none other than Vlad of Hugs Over Masks. And fancy meeting you here today.
I know, right? I even dressed up for the occasion. I know I'm going to see you. No, I mean, the reality is we are all essential. We are all essential, and we have to stand up for what we know is right.
Yes.
And we're here to support the businesses. And I think this is going to be a great example for all the other businesses to open up. Yes. And the reality, we know as an adults, we can make our own choices. If somebody feels safe to come, they should come. And if not, they can stay home and they can wear the mask. And that's how we've done it all this time.
But I don't understand why this little barbecue restaurant is, I don't know, a super spreader destination, whereas a Costco, a Walmart, with far more people in their environs, why they get a free pass. What do you make of this double standard?
You open a business, you say open, and you open. But the reality is this is assault on the small business framework of our society. And that happened before in history, where we want to create a tyrannical government and then suppress the free thinkers, which primarily is actually consist of the business class.
Well, speaking of tyranny, I hate to break away from you, Vlad, but I see the police are behind the counter now. I just spoke to those officers. They said to me that they were originally here just to keep the peace. Yes. I don't see any purified brawls happening. I see a lot of happy diners. But what do you make what's going on behind the scenes right now with those police?
Police officers, for the most, are definitely friendly, and they're on our side. They're doing their job, protecting what's going on. We have a by-law officers here. We have health inspectors as well, and they're just walking around inspecting. I spoke with Adam during our march on Saturday at the protest, and I said, we'll support you anyway. If you're going to get fined, that's fine. At this point, getting the fine is a badge of honor. That means you stood up for the tyranny of his government, and you said enough is enough, and fine is actually the least of our problems because we know what's coming next.
Well, folks, the police officers that were here earlier to basically keep the peace, they said, although I just see a whole lot of happy, hungry people here. They've been talking for the last 15 minutes with Adam, and there's also bylaw enforcement going by. So as soon as we get a chance to talk to Adam, we will, and we'll find out if he's received any kind of a ticket.
These are my children, and we're fighting for their future so they have the same opportunities that I was provided.
Hey Adam, what did the police and bylaw officer say to you?
They were all very respectful. They made sure that they took a look through, and I'm a little overwhelmed right now, brother. They made sure they took a look at the different rules that we're supposed to be complying with. They found that we were in non-compliance of people eating inside. Everything else was good. We're contact tracing. We have the signs posted so that the customers maintain social distancing, but it looks like there's a little bit of civil disobedience happening today. They decided not to enforce that, and it sure isn't my job as a guy who cooks brisket to enforce government regulations.
Adam, do you think you're a catalyst for so many other businesses in the same position you are, with your backs up against the wall, just trying to earn a livelihood, that they will look upon what you've done today and they will also open up in civil disobedience?
Of course, I know I'm going to be the catalyst for this. When everybody stands up and says enough is enough, that's when we're going to see this end.
And what is the ostensible policy reason in the first place of shutting down a little mom-pa operator like you, and yet the Costco's, the Walmarts, the Loblaws of the world, they get to open? It seems to be a double standard, doesn't it?
Don't ask me, man. How am I supposed to know? I don't make policy. I'm just supposed to enforce it at my restaurant. I don't know why that's happening, but it doesn't feel right to me, and I know there's a lot of other people it doesn't feel right to them either.
Well, I'm looking at this lineup, Adam. How soon are you going to run out of food?
If we haven't sold out of some meats already, I'm sure we're going to very soon. We had a lot of support today. We have some freedom-loving patriots that are here to support. I'm sure we'll be out of food in no time.
And no fines so far, right?
No, sir. Not a single fine issued today to my business, myself, or anybody who came here to support.
What does it feel like to put Defiance on the menu?
Fucking amazing, bro.
Well, you know, sir, I'm looking at this lineup. It stretches right onto the road, right through the parking lot. What brings you out here today?
Well, supporting the local businesses, supporting the people that need our support. At the end of the day, we're all in this together the right way, right? And the right way is fighting all these unlawful and biased bylaws, right? All these criminal bylaws, I could say.
You know, it's interesting you say biased bylaws, because the likes of Walmart, Loblaws, Costco, they can open up, they can serve thousands of people every day per store, and yet a small mom and pop store, the government comes down like a papal bull on them. Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's pretty ridiculous, but at the same time, I'll tell you, it's corporate interests, right? When we're talking about the 1%, we're not talking about the rich small business owners, right? That's what they kind of display it as, those guys that just became millionaires last year. We're talking about the multi-billion and trillion-dollar companies that are owning half the country.
What brings you out to this eatery, this illegal eatery, I might add?
Just support for freedom, right? Yeah.
So why is it, do you think, that, I mean, Adam's point, and it's a valid one, I think, when you have the Walmarts and the Costco's of the world open, but all these little businesses shut down under threat of heavy penalties, why are we tolerating this double standard in the first place?
We shouldn't be. I think a lot of people are scared. I think that's the reason why people are tolerating it. A lot of people are just scared to stand up. They don't know their rights. They don't know that this is just a mandate.
So, sir, what brings you out to this illicit, illegal eatery that's opening in defiance of the province?
So I don't think it's illegal. I think it's legal of what he's doing. He's a small business owner. So am I. So I fully support Adam and what he's doing. It's time for us to band together as a society and become one and really understand what's really going on behind the scenes.
Well, you know, you'll never know who you're going to meet at an illegal restaurant opening. We got Jason of the Minden 50s, is it 50s Diner?
50s Diner.
And
right.
Jason, you were on the edge of doing exactly the same thing months ago when your region was in stage 1. First of all, what's the update on your diner?
Well, first of all, I just want to tell you that I support this guy. I drove 3 hours. I just read the news this morning, said that he was opening and protesting. I drove 3 hours to support him because I agree with what he's doing here.
And it looks like you're not the only one. I've never seen a lineup for a barbecue this big. Do you think this eatery will serve as a catalyst that more businesses will say, the hell with it, I've got nothing to lose, my back is against the wall, and they too will open?
100%. 100%. I think a lot of people are feeling that way right now, that they just feel like they have nothing to lose. Regardless if they stand up or not, they're going to have to shut their doors anyway, so they might as well fight for the rights.
At the end of the day, we've already lost so much. So, yeah, we just got to open up. We got to be safe and do what we have to do. People that want to wear masks, no problem. People that don't want to wear masks, no problem. People that are afraid of the virus, you know what, keep your family safe, keep yourself safe. Stay at home, do what you have to do to be successful, but we're going to do what we need to do to be successful as well.
I sure hope so. When I did what I did back in June, I went to other restaurants to see if they would join my crusade, and they looked at me like I was crazy, and I had to do it solo, and I hope more people will stand up like he is.
Because they think that they could bully us around, and for the last 10, 15, 20 years, they've been fighting against bullies at schools and around the world. And now they're taking those tactics and putting it towards us, and it just ain't fair anymore. So we're gonna fight the bully.
Okay then. Well, fight the bully and have a big brisket while you're at it.
Absolutely.
Why the double standard if this is all about flattening the curve?
Yeah, that has nothing to do with flattening the curve. As I did multiple videos of me walking around all these big box stores, touching everything, but all restaurateurs are closed. It doesn't make sense. There's something really fishy going on here, and it's about time people take a stand.
Well, folks, there was a brief scrum put on by the Toronto Police Service, and an Inspector Crone evidently said that while no charges have been laid yet, charges are going to be likely in the future. So we're going to keep in touch with Adam to find out if and when and what amount he's going to be fined for, well, basically providing lunch for so many happy customers.
So what do you say to small businesses who are looking at this example and seeing these doors not being closed right away and saying, okay, maybe I might mimic something like this? What would you say to those small businesses?
I would say to them, I'd discourage similar activity because it is unlawful. It is against the Reopening of Ontario Act, right? And again, I would appeal to everyone's sense of public safety and a sense of working together to try and again flatten the curve. And again, I know it's a hardship for people, right? And that's what they have to consider, right?
Well, folks, it's coming up for 1 o'clock, and I think Adam is about to run out of stock. There is still a huge lineup outside his little barbecue. And I can tell you another thing that's noticeable. The entire media party, or media mob, if you will, is here. We got the CBC, City TV, CTV, Global just left, CFRB, another CTV truck here. I can only imagine what their narrative is going to be about Adam opening his barbecue restaurant. I have a pretty good hunch what they're going to say. But you know what, folks? Here's the good news. As the old saying goes, there's no such thing as bad publicity. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
My friends, would you agree with me that David Menzies has done an outstanding job in this pandemic from the very beginning, and now he is championing regular folks. And I mention this because the media party has been absolutely vicious towards this Adam Skelly. I'm going to show you a few things. I'm going to show you a CTV newscast. Here's what we're going to do, because it's 12:30. I'm going to read some super chats. Sorry, I'm late. Before that, I'm going to remind you that this live stream is sponsored, which is very exciting to me. It's brought to you by the PPC, and we showed you a message from the sponsor, Maxime Bernier. That's an ad. Back to the editorial. I'll show you Adamson's Barbecue kicking out the media party. They know who their enemies are. I'll show you a CTV national newscast where the reporter's not wearing a mask. He's doing his work, and then he goes to scold other people for not wearing a mask too, and he puts his on. It's unbelievable. And then we're going to show you some clips from today, like literally an hour ago. We got a couple folks on the scene. So one step at a time. Let's get some super chats going. Appreciate the super chats. You know how it works. Wise and Frosty, $5. Hey, Ezra, I hope Rebel talks about and condemns the blatant communism that is Bill C-10 broadcasting. It's funny you say that. I was just reading that bill yesterday, trying to wrap my head around it. I'm not yet done that because it's written in some obscure legal language. So I am on the file. Thank you. AMT, $2. Qantas airline will have no vax, no flight policy. I saw that. I saw other airlines saying the same thing. It's sort of funny because Qantas used to have a near monopoly on flying in and out of Australia. They have an absurd, outrageous, and woke CEO. I don't know if that's legal. I don't think that's legal. But it's de facto what's going to happen until he's stopped, isn't it? Legally, stopped legally, I mean, someone has to sue him. We got a lot of legal action going on down under. I encourage you to go to savevictoria.com.au. We are crowdfunding a constitutional challenge to several pandemic lockdown rules in Australia. Mark Cougar, $20. Mark, thanks for that. So Kenny bowed to the pandemic's hysteria, but insists it's not a lockdown, so the last province to finally not have any lockdowns is going crazy. He did lock down some things, but not everything. There are some important distinctions. For example, restaurants are not closed in Alberta. I just, while David's vid was playing there, I was just checking my notes and my Twitters, and I see that Rachel Notley, the socialist former premier of Alberta, said she would close every restaurant in the province. Of course she would, because they're not part of a government sector union. So they can take a 100% pay cut, but you say that her staycationing public sector teachers and nurses have to take a 1% pay cut, and then it's general strike time. Yeah, I think that, I just tweeted a map, a chart of all the different states. Can you go to my Twitter feed for 1 second? The cases are rising and falling, and I say cases because for every death, there are a certain number of ICU cases, hospitalizations, and cases. What is a case? A case doesn't mean someone's sick. A case means a test shows a positive. A smaller number, like in the last 10 minutes, I just retweeted. It looks like a bunch of charts. Looks like a bunch of U.S. states. I think looks like a bunch of states. It shows a bunch of little charts, like leaves of. It's not that important. It's just on my Twitter feed. I would have retweeted in the last 5 minutes. There we go. Thank you. Sorry about that. So COVID-19 cases began rising. This is from Tony Heller. COVID-19 cases began rising around the same time everywhere, and now have started falling at the same time, independent of mask mandates and other government policy. Governments do not control viruses, but this will not stop politicians from taking credit. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's each one of these has a different state written on it. You see Hawaii, Texas, whatever. And most of them are showing the same thing, a rise and then a fall, a rise and like a recent rise and then a fall, right? Almost all of them are falling. They're quite similar. And I think the point there is very interesting. Some of these states like North Dakota, South Dakota, extremely hands-off government. Some of them extremely hands-on government. Like is Chicago on there? Illinois. Yeah, Illinois. You can see it on the, that's where Chicago is. Chicago has some of the craziest lockdown rules. It went up and it's coming down. Compare that to South Dakota, just 2 over and to the left there. Went up and then came down. So that's an interesting point, that whatever you're doing, it's just for politics. I think that's what this chart shows fairly effectively. Thanks very much. So that's cases per 100,000 people. Let's get back to the super chats, because I want to get back to Adamson Barbecue. So let me just get through these super chats quickly, and then we'll get back to the barbecue. Dr. $5, how many smaller family businesses have we lost in the last 7 months? Is there a list of businesses that are staying open in civil disobedience? Well, I think that's why everyone's riveted with this Adamson Barbecue, is that he's the first guy to show any courage. I shouldn't say first guy. He's the first guy to show so much courage. There have been smaller acts of courage, but boy, they're going to come down on him hard. Oh, I hope he's ready. Fraser McBurney, thanks Fraser, $15. My internet was down for the last 5 days, and I had to watch regular TV. It drove me crazy. If they didn't have COVID-19, they would have had no news at all. Sell the CBC. You know what? You're so right. I drive to work, and I sometimes flip radio, and I do search or scan or whatever, skip, whatever that button is, and it passes the CBC channel. And it's like they're laughing at me. It's like Ezra's listening today. Let's put the most outrageous scaremongering stuff. Like they have to replace their Trump hatred. Like they're still mocking Trump, and they will till if in fact he does lose, which unfortunately I think is likely. They've got to replace that with something. So COVID paranoia it is, and wokeism, and Black Lives Matter narrative, and transgender narratives. So they're going to miss Trump when he's gone. Heatbag, $8. Sad to see the mainstream media link the Adamson's event to white nationalism due to Paul Fromm's attendance. You've proven your point regarding agents provocateurs. Well, look who was there. You had Paul Fromm, who is a white nationalist, that he just is. What's he doing there? What's he got to do with smoked meat? You had Lamont Daigle there. I think he's a narc. I think he's an underminer. He says crazy things that I think are designed to plant little time bombs for, God forbid, if someone does something violent, they'll say, oh, well, these anti-pandemic people are calling for it. I think he's a risk. Kevin J. Johnson, I interviewed him once because he was facing some hate crime charges or something. He said, oh, I'm excited about this. I said, if you're excited about being prosecuted, you're doing it wrong. And I think you've got all these folks there, and I believe in their freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of speech even for people with whom I disagree. I think Lamont should watch his mouth when he calls or fantasizes about violence. I think that discredits a movement. I think Paul Fromm is dead wrong with his theories of racism. I think Kevin J. Johnson is just a wild guy who would do anything for clickbait, but I believe they have the right to speak. Trouble is, they give the mainstream media, like there were over 100 people there yesterday, and can you retweet the picture I showed of some visible minorities, looks like a team posing with Adam Skelly. Like the idea that he's a white nationalist is so absurd, but the media is actually running with that because they saw a handful of these guys. I just tweeted a picture, I think it's from Joe Warmington. I would have retweeted it literally in the last 10 minutes. Joe's down there too, along with two of our guys. And looks like a squad of some sort. I don't know if I don't even know who these guys are, but they look like visible minorities to me. Yeah, click on that, if you click on that picture. And can you zoom in a bit? So Joe doesn't even caption these, but I think one of those guys is Sikh. The guy, can you zoom in at all in the picture? No, not really. The guy second from the right, I think he's wearing a Sikh turban. I think that guy is, and maybe the guy next to him, I think that is. And then the guy in the foreground on the left, he looks like he's black to me. And then in the middle there, you see Adam Skelly. So yeah, I don't think that's a, I don't think that's a white supremacist thing going on. But I don't even know who these guys are. What does it say? What's that? The Fight Club? Thick Boy Fight Club. So are these like, do they work out? Is it just a fun club or something? I don't know. I think that's a black guy and a Sikh guy, maybe two Sikh guys. They seem pretty friendly. They're all smiles and they're getting their smoked meat. But yeah, the media actually calls these folks white nationalists. They're obviously not, but you got to smear a guy. Let's whip through some of these here. Mark Cougar, $5, 12:30 p.m. No fines handed out to anybody. Awesome. Yeah, well, there's no rule that says the fine has to come today. Chris Marchese, $2. I can't wait until Trump wins. Well, you might have to wait a while. Listen, I think I'm the biggest Trump booster in Canada, with the possible exception of Conrad Black. But I think the path is narrowing, and I think that some of the allegations by Sidney Powell are so spectacular that I do not believe she can prove them in the short time allotted. They're of such a scale and scope that you would need like a 3-year Mueller-style, $50 million, 20-staff investigation to smoke out the truth with search warrants and things like that. It may be true what Sidney Powell is saying, but I don't think she has the resources and the time to prove it. in the next couple weeks, which is all she has. So I think you're being overly optimistic, Chris. Stay easy, my friends. $10. Rebel News is a light in the darkness. Thank you for what you do. Thanks for that. Brandon Recchi Jits Ninja. $5. If anyone wants a measure of DND's accountability, just Google Mefloquine. Us veterans have a lawsuit in against our government, left, right, both criminals. Well, I think that our veterans have not been treated right by the Liberals in particular. I think things were improved on the Conservatives, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not an expert in the subject. Alex, $5. Thoughts on contact tracing data and what can and will be done with it? I think the real threat is what we alluded to earlier, vaccine passports. Now, where there is a document, there is someone willing to make a fake document. And just like you can get fake ID to buy liquor, if you've ever seen that really funny movie called Superbad, one of the kids in high school who looks very young. Like, I mean, there's some, when I was in high school, no one ever ID'd me. I went to bars when I was 17. My entire high school career, I was never ID'd once. I guess I looked older, or I was with older friends. But this kid in Superbad, he looked like 14. And so he got this fake ID. I don't know if you know. Can you get a picture of it? Can you just grab a still image of it? It was one of the funniest jokes in the whole movie. So he gets fake ID made. And what name does he choose for himself? A one-word name, McLovin. Just McLovin. I got to show it to you on the screen. If you find it, just throw it on the screen because it's so funny. Yeah, McLovin, there we go. And of course, he was born in Hawaii. And McLovin, yeah, that's my name. And here's my ID, so you know it's true. So you know it's true. I'm joking around, but my point is, if you can get fake ID to buy a beer, can you get fake ID for a vaccine? I'm not asking for myself. I think that you will find people you'll find people taking bribes, you'll find corrupt officials, you'll find counterfeits, you'll find hackers. You just will. It's a prediction. You make a rule, there's someone who's already gaming that rule. Am I right? I was hearing the folks the other day saying all the speakeasies in town, just like, but we're in a modern prohibition. It's like prohibition. You know, last century you had to knock, knock, knock. What's the password? Trudeau believes in the Great Reset. All right, come in. We'll serve you some wine. You know? So 100 years ago, the prohibition was on wine. Now it sounds like the prohibition's on smoked meat. So you crush the entrepreneur that's trying to do it legitimately. You don't think there's 100 restaurants in this town that if you arranged in advance, they'd cook a meal for you in private? Psst, want some smoked meat? Come here. Absolutely. You don't think Doug Ford and all his friends go to things on the lowdown, on the sly, like Gavin Newsom, that liar, did? Let's catch up here. Christine Lewis, $2. Can you make Rebel Army t-shirts? It's not a bad idea. Cody Slykehouse, $70. Cody, I apologize for saying your name incorrectly. I just don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you, Cody. End the lockdown, vote a no confidence for Trudeau, call for election, Google change.org with the above and sign the petition. I got two things to say about that. Number one, if there were an election called now, Justin Trudeau would win a majority. Sorry. Number two, change.org, that's just a data harvesting site. Nothing's going to happen. You sign that petition. Sorry, I don't mean to be a downer. I'm just telling you. Stockholm Syndrome, $2. What is the elephant in the room in all this? Well, it's the Great Reset. It's a chance for government, especially international globalist government, to take power. They couldn't do it through climate change. On my show the other night, I played a clip from Jane Fonda. You don't have that clip handy, do you? Jane Fonda, who I think she's 80 or 83. She looks amazing, by the way. She was an enemy of America even during the Vietnam War. She literally went to Vietnam during the war and posed with North Vietnamese Viet Cong soldiers and an anti-aircraft gun that shoots down Americans. She was posing with the enemy. It would be like someone in World War II flying from London to Germany to pose with Nazi troops. That's what she did. She hates America, hates the West, even though she married a billionaire, Ted Turner. Actually, I don't know if they actually got married. She was one of his several wives. They had a very strange arrangement. But listen to what she said the other day. So and by the way, she's not at risk from COVID because she doesn't live in a do not resuscitate seniors home, and she's in better health than me. Take a look at this.
It's an existential crossroads, and we are people who can help determine which way humanity goes. What a great gift. What a tremendous opportunity. We're just so lucky. We have to use it with every ounce of intelligence and courage and wherewithal we have, because you're absolutely right. This is it. This is it. And, I just think COVID is God's gift to the left.
That laugh at the end. COVID is God's gift to the left. That's Jane Fonda. Still smoking hot at 83. Dr. $5 regarding agent provocateurs. Did anything come of the criminal chainsaw wielders from that beach a few months back? Reasons as to why they were there. Hey, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to it, but yeah, that's really weird. Freedom for All, $10. We need some coverage for our Calgary rallies. Please send Kean on Saturday to City Hall, 1 to 3 p.m. All right, I'll keep that in mind, and I'll mention it to the lad. He is on assignment right now in Manitoba. Mike Corbin, $10. Can you talk more about advertising with the Rebel? You know the struggles of small business in the COVID-19 world. Your audience is loyal and responsive. What is available? Well, Mike, that's pretty friendly. Well, here's what we're doing for the PPC. We're selling them display ads. So on our website, there's ads. We never used to have ads. We just got some ads now. So the PPC will get ads along the side of stories. And I didn't do it very smoothly today, but you got a readout. And we could do that for a number of things. I don't know. We could... Oh, we've got a PowerPoint presentation for ads I hear in my ear. Telling the other side of the story. So some details about us, about our... Okay, yeah, there you go. So those are ad placements on our different websites. Oh, yeah, emails. We do a lot of emails. So you can buy an email to our people. We have 500,000 folks. Video, social media, so we can do, we're just starting this, but we're giving her. Yeah, I didn't do this very well today, but we have different, it's just available on like rebelnews.com/ads or something. All right, well, do you want to have Eitan or Sarah put that up on rebelnews.com/ads? That makes sense, right? It's probably available somewhere on our website. Mike, I don't know. I'm not as up on the edge. I mean, I didn't even read it smoothly, but thank you for offering. I think you're right. We had an email that we sent out to our people from a company in New Brunswick that sells, I got to say this right, phytoplankton. Is that right? Phytoplankton. As a supplement. I didn't say it right. I apologize. And it was so well received, I think they're doing more ads. And it was like a rebel-friendly person. So I think you're right, Mike, is that we have loyal viewers, and if someone said, hey, I'm going to stand with the Rebel, that's half a sales pitch right there, right? So thank you for asking. Does ads at rebelnews.com even work? Okay, rebelnews.com/advertise. Okay, we should also have ads if you want to send a note to A10. It should be ads and advertise. And I hope ads and advertise at rebelnews.com work. So we're just doing a little bit of business here on the live stream because that's how we roll. All right, my friends, it's 12:50. I promised you I'd show you more stuff. Here's Adamson's Barbecue kicking out the media party because they know the media party are their enemy and they don't hide it. Here, take a look-see.
Radio, CBC, CP24, I asked them all to please go across the street and not to bother our customers. They actually spent about 15 minutes arguing and blocking the entrance to the place here. I asked them nicely to leave and they wouldn't, so they're across the street now. And I'm very happy to have the Toronto Sun in here, who's been doing some very unbiased reporting from, we got Lily and Fury, and I'm sorry, your name again?
Joe Warmington.
Joe Warmington, who have been doing some great unbiased reporting on what's going on with COVID. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, so he's kicking out CTV, CBC, very wise, because they're not neutral, they're advocates. They hate him. Some of the tweets, I showed them on my show last night, the tweets were amazing by these journalists, just panicking. Oh my God, they're not wearing masks. They're not wearing masks. Yeah, you weren't wearing a mask either. Here, I want to show you an incredible video of a CTV reporter. We're not going to play the whole thing, just watch the beginning of this. And then we're going to scooch to the ending of it. Do you know the two parts that are interesting, Justin? All right, let's take a look-see.
Actually, Austin is here now. Austin Laney joins us now. Austin, you are at Queen Elizabeth Boulevard in Etobicoke with the latest on the drama that unfolded. Of course, this is breaking news, so you're joining us now. Go for it, Austin.
Well, you can see the lineup behind me. These are the fans of this barbecue joint. It's called Adamson's Barbecue in Etobicoke. Last night, the owner of the place, put out a message on Instagram saying that he would be opening in defiance of the provincial rules and have indoor dining. What we're looking at here are the supporters of Adamson's Barbecue. They came here early as well as people who were not supporters, who were worried about the spread of COVID in the neighborhood. And those are the police behind me with the bylaw officers that went inside. I can tell you, I can look in there right now, and there are still people inside the restaurant. There is still a lineup outside the restaurant, and there are still a lot of supporters of Adamson's Barbecue and its right to open up today and serve people inside. They're also saying that they're against wearing masks as well. If you look around the whole group of supporters here, very, very few of them are wearing masks. We'll send it back inside.
I think they actually showed him putting the mask on, so he starts off without a mask. Because you got to be a kook to wear a mask if you're a newscaster. Like, are you crazy? He's not crazy. So he wasn't wearing the mask. He was doing a report. And I don't go to much trouble, but if you've got it right there, he actually puts it on because he knows he's about to condemn the little people for not wearing it. And he says, oh, yeah, it might be a bit ridiculous if I condemn them for not wearing a mask when I'm not wearing a mask. So he puts it on, and then he goes to condemn them for not wearing a mask. You saw him. He starts the report without it on, and then he puts it on and he condemns the people. It's just him putting it on was the extra icing on the cake. All right, let's check the time. It's 12:54. We do have time to play some clips that Lincoln sent back. You know, I don't know if you got them raw there, if you want to grab them from our Twitter feed, but I know we've sent a few from today. He was open again today, and the cops were there again today. Let's take a look at some content.
And protecting.
A display of defiance against the province's lockdown. A Toronto barbecue restaurant reopens today.
All right, just short clips. Go ahead and play more short clips as B-roll even. We don't even need the audio. Now, we got a couple reporters on the scene there. David Menzies is there. Lincoln is down there. I wonder by what legal right the police are in there, if they have some special warrant or right. I know that this restaurateur, Adam Skelly, is not a lawyer. Of course not. He's a smoked meat expert. And frankly, if you could choose one person to be on a desert island with you, would you rather have someone who knows how to make amazing food, or would you rather have a lawyer? It's clear to me who is of greater value in society. But one thing that I don't know as a former lawyer myself is do those cops have the right to even be in that building? It's private property, unless they're there with some sort of warrant, which they might have, or if there's some sort of statutory right. Why are a bunch of cops standing around in your restaurant intimidating people and blocking and taking up space? You know, there's different approaches, but my approach would be to say to the cops, folks, unless you're here as paying customers, please get out before I call the police on you under the Trespass Act. Because I'm polite that way. I would say, please get out before I call the cops on you. But that's just me. I'm me. I hear from Justin that we actually have a brief interview with the man of the hour. Let's play it. Here, let's take a look.
What did it feel like yesterday and today? Yesterday you had hundreds of people lined up right onto the street to support you, to buy the brisket you were serving up. I see the lineup already beginning to grow and you're not even open for business. How did that make you feel?
It made me feel incredible. There's people out there who are in our corner who want small businesses to open and survive. They don't want small businesses to be the sacrifice through this pandemic. I stand with all those people. I'm very fortunate to have them standing with me.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. That's David Menzies down on the scene today. Very interesting. See, I know a few things about Doug Ford. Hey, do you want to call up the Sun News Network Ford Nation special? It's on YouTube, and can you go to it where I wrap up I did a monologue. I don't even know if you remember that, Justin, but I did a little monologue. I wrap up, and I think I said I would rather have Rob Ford drunk than these guys sober. I think that was my last line. And then I walked on over to the Fords. Can you grab that and play that clip, like that particular moment of it? So I know the Fords a little bit. We've had Doug Ford in this very studio. We were friends with the late Rob Ford, great man. Doug is not Rob. Doug is absolutely not Rob. Doug, the most surprising thing about Doug Ford that I've learned is not that he's a liberal, which he sort of is. That's fine. It's that he's so weak-willed. That's the surprise to me. Because Rob Ford was like an egg. The harder you cook it, the hotter the heat, the tougher it is. You know what I mean? You have a soft-boiled egg, it's soft. You keep cooking that thing, it gets hard. Rob Ford was like an egg. Or a diamond, that's better. You crush it, it gets stronger. Not Doug Ford. Doug Ford is like a seat cushion. He retains the impression of the person who last sat on him. And so that's why this is so interesting. It's not just Adam Skelly of Adamson's Barbecue. It's that 100 people there, it's the media attention. I think there's a chance Doug Ford will blink. I think there's a chance that Doug Ford will, because he's a bit of a jellyfish. The public health deep state, though, they want to snuff him out. Oh, the media wants to kill him. But the funny thing is the weak spot is Doug. I just want to show you this blast from the past. This is almost 10 years ago now. We had a Ford Nation special at Sun News. I just want to show you a little bit of it. So grab like 10 or 15 or 20 seconds of me and then me going over to talk to the brothers. Here, take a look.
His wife and family and friends. The Star isn't even a newspaper anymore. It's paparazzi. They're even paying cash to any member of the public who secretly tapes Ford saying something embarrassing, even private, even in a home. That's why I support Rob Ford. He's run the city well, despite his private life, and Rob Ford's enemies aren't just bullies. They're undemocratic bullies who act like they, and not the people of the city, own the mayor's office, and that they'll decide Ford's fate. No. Ford is a deeply flawed man, but I'd take him drunk over his left-wing predecessor sober. This is Canada. We let voters decide who holds office, not the editors of the Toronto Star or their stockerazzi. Mayor Ford, I got a question for you. It's so obvious. If you were a liberal, if you were a tax hiker, if you were part of the gravy train, would you be going through any of this right now?
I don't believe I would be. They say, you've got to work with the council. I've worked with the council. We built subways when they said that's impossible to do.
Oh, great days. I really liked Rob. I never knew Doug well. You could see that we were all looking younger. I was looking a tiny bit thinner, and my hair was a little less gray. We're all getting older. I suppose that's a statement that's always true. I miss Rob Ford. He truly loved the common people, the common sense of the common people. And he was not pushed around by the media party. They hated him so much, he knew he could never woo them or win them. Doug Ford is cleverer than his brother, so he thinks. So he thinks he can win over the media party, the mob, the public health deep state. So he has thrown his own Ford Nation to the wolves. But that same weakness of character makes him vulnerable to a grassroots uprising, which may be happening out there at Adamson's Barbecue. It just might be. It's 1:01, so I want to just clear out the last super chats, and then I got to go. I got a lot of stuff I'm working on. David's doing great work. You know, we got action in the United Kingdom, I'm going to tell you about next week, that I think you will be pleased with. Obviously, Avi Yemini is just doing a great job down under. And I came in here and I saw this today. It's a mug that says COVID 1984. Now, this is actually just a sticker on a mug, but we're selling the actual mugs in the store, is that right? We'll show you the store. We're revamping the store. I think there's too much Trump stuff on there, myself. We got stuff like COVID 1984. We got the mask exemption buttons. I just saw this on the table. I didn't realize this was a sticker on there, but that's pretty fun, COVID 1984. I think that's a pretty fun mug. Yeah, there you go. So that one's not actually a sticker. That's the real deal. And that includes shipping, I think, right? And what else we got? What else is, I am exempt, that's a good one. What's that thing on the far left there? What does that say? Make Canada Greater, Libranos, I am exempt, a toque. What else we got? Don't blame me, I voted Conservative, Make Canada Great Again. What else we got? Laugh and Cry, bestsellers. COVID-19, Trudeau, no. So this is our store. We're ironing out, please don't eat me. That's Catherine McKenna. Do I matter? All right, I don't quite get it. MAGA man, DJ Trump, MC Pence. Spoiler alert, Trump wins. Well, I hope so. I think these are a little bit, who knows? Laugh and Cry. They're well named. Who's that handsome man? Looks like he's the Aquaman actor or something. Make Canada Great Again. You know, I actually trademarked that. Hudson's Bay stole that. I sued them, and they apologized. What do you think of that? Make Canada Great. I like those. Those aren't bad. You know what? Those are pretty good. Patriot. I like those. Look at that guy with the ink. Look at that guy with the tats. Trudeau, no. I wouldn't mess with him. COVID 1984. Who's that guy? Stop the Steal. Huh. New York cheesecake. There's so much going on in the Rebel store. I haven't even seen half of these things before. A lot of words on that one. So anyhow, may I, if you're, coffee, I drink a little bit. So we got them new COVID 1984 mugs. Okay, it's 1:04. Let me hurry up with the super chats. Boy, do you remember the last one I read? Hal, $20. When we have rectified socialist Canada, we'll be angry enough to rectify the socialist Chinese dragon, and the Chinese people will welcome our soldiers with open arms. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's invading China. One of its many nicknames is, besides the Middle Kingdom, is the land of many. And if China is to be freed, it must come from within. Sir Senior Chalice, $5. My woman said, idiots are God's gift to the left. Yeah, it's true. There are a few idiots on the right, let's confess it. Gary Reedstra, $5. Ezra, how do you think the patriots in America will react if Trump loses the election? I think that with despondency and a sunken feeling that America has been brought down from the democratic standard bearer it once was, because I think that although it may not be possible to prove widespread fraud, as Sidney Powell has alleged, it is undisputable that last-minute changes to mail-in ballots, changing the rules of the game, is how Biden won. By rigging the game. I don't think they rigged it illegally. I think they rigged it legally, through the courts, which may not, in fact, be constitutional. But I think it was a slow-motion steal in full view of the world. There may have been some shenanigans at 4 a.m. as well. But I think it was stolen 3 months before the election day itself. Mark Cougar, $5. So what do you think Ford and Tory's response will be? Well, see, the thing is, I put up a tweet today. I said, look, this Adam Skelly, he should have just called it Black Lives Matter or Extinction Rebellion or Walmart. Just change your name and the cops won't enforce the law. Dr. $5, just now got an emergency alert text. Really makes me wonder about COVID, the government, and access to personal cell phones. I got the same thing while I was sitting here on my phone and on my watch. So yeah, we are unfortunately in the matrix. I think I've caught up. I think so. Thanks everybody for watching with us today. Watch the report that David Menzies will have later tonight when he's back. Do we know when we're putting out the old Mennonite thing with Keane? Is that going out on the weekend or something? We got some more really good videos. We've got such a backlog of videos. We've got so much. And last night, literally, there's a star out there who's recently become unencumbered. And I reached out to her, and I reached out to her, and I reached out to her, and I thought, you know what? I've contacted her 3 times now. I don't want to be stalkerish. Let me just write one last letter to her. And what do I get a phone call? I said, well, I think you should do some videos for Rebel News. And she says, well, let's do it. So we talked a bit about it. I'm not going to announce who she is till we have the first video up, but I'm very excited about it. And it's very exciting to meet Kim Klasick. His new video with us, I think, went up yesterday. And we've got talent galore. We got so much content. I think that watching every Rebel video, if you were to do, we've got to be at 10, 15 videos a day. Am I right? Is it something like that? It's so much. You can't even watch it. I can't watch it because I'm doing stuff. But we got good editors, good content, good talent. I feel like we're really filling a void right now, especially in Canada. In America, you have good voice. You've got The Blaze. You've got Rush Limbaugh, of course. You've got Dan Bongino. He doesn't do a lot of primary reporting, but lots of opinion commentary. The Daily Caller, Breitbart.com, Daily Wire. There's a lot of content. I like how much on-the-ground content there is. Daily Caller and Breitbart are specifically good for that. I like the fact that OAN, One America News Network, and Newsmax are really growing. Of course, Tucker Carlson's the boss of everything. So I really like some of the new alternative voices in the United States. But in Canada is not a long list. And one of the things you can see we specialize in, and this is a pivot we made about 1.5 years ago, was get out of the studio, get into the field. Go to where the news is. Yeah, you can do commentaries from your home studio, green screen. I'm in a studio right now. I'm not in the field. David's in the field. But look at that. We were actually showing vids from him. He's out there in the field. Kian Bexty and Mocha in Manitoba right now. We got people out in the world, Drea in the world. And I think that makes all the difference. We're actually getting news. We also do desk-based research like access to information requests. That's real reporting too. So I think we're filling a void. I think we're a little bit different than some of the other media, alternative media that are primarily commentary-based. Commentary is interesting. I love it. But you need some thing at the center. You need a nucleus of the story before you have the electrons around it. So you need something in the middle before everyone says, let's talk about that. What's the that? So by going out there into the field with our reporters, that's the that part. My friends, it's 1:10 p.m. I'm just going to check one more super chat. Ada Gray, $5. Have any restriction violation tickets gone to court yet? Have we heard of any outcomes? Great question. The answer is, I don't believe any have gone to court. As you may know, we have a program called FightTheFines.com. And we have taken 14 cases in Canada. I think we published 13 of them. And I think 2 or 3 of them have been dropped already by the prosecutor. We had a victory in Australia. The prosecutor just dropped it. They say, oh my God, the police gave you this ticket and we're supposed to argue this in front of a judge? No thanks. So I don't think any have actually had a court hearing, but we're winning some already just by lawyering up. Guys, I got to run. Great to be with you today. Thanks for the super chats. And keep tuning into Rebel News. If you want to advertise, go to rebelnews.com/advertise. Get the details there. Today's broadcast was brought to you by the PPC. I got to get better at reading out ads like that, but I will. All right, I'll be back on Friday with these live streams. Sheila and David will be here tomorrow. Until next time, on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, to you at home, goodbye. Keep fighting for freedom. And do we have a dog video? We got a dog video curated by Justin. Take a look.